You're live.
Am I?
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Okay. So the theme for today's live was Stephen King adaptations.
Stefan King.
We had a difficult time choosing 5.
We?
Well, because there's so many. But I felt like The Shining, Misery, those are 2 that probably deserve their own videos at some point, or maybe like the podcast. So we chose 5 that I thought the split would be more even, but there was a clear winner. The options were Pet Sematary, Sleepwalkers, Creepshow, Christine, and Carrie. And Carrie won with 41% of the votes.
That doesn't surprise me. And those are all based on books, except for Sleepwalkers, which was a script that he wrote.
Which did you vote for?
Sleepwalkers, because granted, it's not a great film, but I could put that on anytime, anywhere.
I would have voted for Sleepwalkers because I do remember that movie and think it'd be fun to talk about.
It's got a lot of WTF factors and a wonderful Alice Krige.
Creepshow, I know I like, but I think that would have been hard to talk about because I feel like for each vignette I could have rambled on.
Oh yeah, Creepshow is not based on a book either. That's a graphic novel that he wrote.
So that would have been too much. And then Pet Sematary I wasn't excited about just because we just reviewed that horrible, was it Hulu?
Paramount Plus.
Oh, Paramount Plus.
Bloodlines.
I don't remember Christine. I would like to watch it.
Christine's great, John Carpenter.
But let me read the premise. Carrie White, a shy, friendless teenage girl who is sheltered by her domineering religious mother, unleashes her telekinetic powers after being humiliated by her classmates at her senior prom. What's your relationship to this book/movie?
Well, I started reading Stephen King in 4th grade. The first thing I read, though, was Dolores Claiborne because my grandmother had a copy. And then I became kind of obsessed. And I remember very well the paperback copy I had. I was able to purchase at a used bookstore. And I remember reading it in a hotel room with my parents in Minneapolis. Yeah, and the book is a little bit different, but I probably didn't see the film until high school and fell in love with, of course, Piper Laurie and Sissy Spacek.
I recall watching the movie in the 80s, like maybe like the early 80s on TV. So it was edited, I'm sure. I recall watching it with my mom and sister.
There are no dirty pillows in that cut, I'm sure.
And then I know I watched it with you in like 2010.
Yep, which is the last time I've seen it.
And I've also seen the 2013 remake with Crowe,
Grace Moretz, and Julianne Moore, which was directed by Kimberly Pierce.
And then I watched the 2003 film with
Angela Bettis and Patricia Clarkson. I've never seen that. I think that was made for television.
I watched that movie 3 weeks ago.
That sounds right.
I didn't remember anything about this movie except the shower scene and the prom scene. So rewatching Carrie, the 1976 version yesterday, I was very surprised at what happened. But the story is pretty simple in this movie. So we meet Carrie White, played by Sissy Spacek. She's a senior in high school. The film opens with her being bullied on the playground, like during PE. And then during the, after PE, when she has to go take a shower, she has her first menstrual cycle. And no one warned her about it. So she freaks out, which of course, all the girls in the locker room who had been bullying her obviously take it a step further. But the PE teacher, who's played by
Betty Buckley.
Do I know her from something?
M. Night Shyamalan cast her in The Happening and Split.
Oh.
She's also Harrison Ford's wife in Frantic. This was her debut.
She's beautiful. But she, of course, sticks up for Carrie. And there's another student named Sue Snell, played by
Amy Irving, who used to be married to Steven Spielberg.
She also sort of sympathizes with Carrie and decides that she wants to do something nice for her. So she has her boyfriend ask Carrie out to the prom. He convinces her to go. But there's another student who's the mad one?
Nancy Ellen.
What's her character's name?
Chris Hargensen.
Chris is mad because they all got punished for making fun of Carrie. So Chris and her boyfriend, played by John Travolta, which I didn't even realize he was in this movie. I was shocked when I saw him. They have this plan to basically dump pig blood on her after she wins prom queen, and they are going to rig the election to make sure that happens. So we all know that's what happens at the prom. She gets covered in pig blood. And then we also learn before that happens that she has these telekinetic powers because she does some few things, and she tells her mother that she can move things with her mind. So Carrie shuts down prom, which we need to talk about, but she kills damn near everyone at the prom, including her PE teacher, which I thought was so sad.
It was, but she didn't she mistakenly thought she was involved.
I mean, I'm sure a lot of innocent people were killed that night, which is unfortunate.
Were they?
But Carrie ends up going home, and her mother tries to kill her because she thinks she's the devil. And the mom actually does end up stabbing Carrie, like in the back. But Carrie kills her mother by stabbing her. And then I guess because whatever Carrie's mind is doing causes the house to basically sink into the ground. So we see that Carrie and her mom died together and are buried. The end. The movie is quite different from the book, which we can talk about at the end. Should I just go through my notes?
Yeah, do it.
Okay, the funniest part of this movie that took me out, and I'm still giggling in my head about it, is Carrie's full name is Carrietta. Have you ever met a Carrietta?
No.
I don't know. So I was reading watching some stuff about this movie, and apparently Stephen King. So I didn't realize this was his first book.
First film adaptation of a book.
Because it's excellent. Which is strange that the same person who wrote this wrote Dreamcatcher. Well, I don't know what the book is like. To think that Carrie and Dreamcatcher, the movies, are based on material from the same person is crazy to me.
Well, again, kind of on that treadmill of having to have such prolific outputs, you have some bad ideas sometimes.
But I'm not the only Stephen King book I've ever read is The Dead Zone. And, you're much more familiar with his work.
Yes.
And you're saying that over time it kind of got...
to me, it deteriorated significantly.
Anyway, he based this character off of two girls he grew up with as a kid. One girl at school used to get picked on because she would wear the same outfit every day. And then another girl who would get picked on because she had a seizure disorder.
Well, he used to be a teacher.
Stephen King was a teacher?
Yeah.
He taught English?
He taught something. I don't remember what, but I think that I had read years ago, I didn't brush up on this, but that he based the experiences also on having had worked at some capacity in the school.
Well, I mean, I've worked in schools before, and it only takes one day on campus to know that teenagers are awful people.
Yeah.
But I thought the opening was super strong because we see Carrie being picked on the playground. I guess for high school students, you don't call it the playground, the blacktop during PE. But then during the opening credits, we see all the girls taking showers, and there's like this angelic music playing.
This is the Pino Donaggio's score. Bernard Herrmann had died, who was Hitchcock's favorite, because De Palma always kind of wanted to be Hitchcock.
Oh, you didn't mention that. So who directed this?
Brian De Palma.
And what do we know from him?
Oh my God, so many things. But I know I've shown you Sisters because that might be my favorite. Blowout.
Nope.
What Femme Fatale you haven't seen?
No.
Mission Impossible, the first one
with Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The Fury. You did watch The Fury because we did a podcast on it, which is also about
girls with telekinetic powers,
starring Amy Irving,
the curly-haired lady.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and Kirk Douglas.
But anyway, you were talking about the score.
Oh yeah, so I believe this is the first time that he worked with Pino Donaggio, who has scored a lot of. Oh God, you haven't seen Raising Cain with John Lithgow. Anyway,
we also haven't eaten at Raising Cane's.
That's true.
Because we had we had a friend who would go on and on about it.
Yes, my sister.
No. Oh yeah.
No.
But like would wait in line for some chicken tenders?
No.
Not me.
Nope.
Now, if someone wants to have chicken tenders delivered to me, fine. But I'm not waiting in line. But yes,
but that score, which it's cluing you up for something else.
yes, it was very, very effective. Okay, I know like these girls are awful and mean, but when Carrie, so she's in the shower, she starts bleeding, her hands are covered in blood, she's all wet, and of course is acting very scared. But I would have to say, if somebody all wet and covered in blood ran up to me and started grabbing me and scream, I mean, I wouldn't react positively. I'm not going to make fun of you, but I'm probably going to kick you off and be like, that's crazy.
Sure, but they're extra cruel.
They are absolutely extra cruel.
And I think that it's supposed to be the juxtaposition of like these both parties in Carrie's life have lost their humanity. These GD teenagers, and then her mother, who it would seem would have the strong moral center, but also has lost her sense of humanity.
You're right, but if you run up on me bloody and wet and start grabbing me, it's gonna be a problem.
Sure, but you have to be sympathetic for her. Like she thought
you can't in this economy. No, you cannot just run up on me wet and bloody.
But to a young girl who doesn't know what's happening to her body, she thinks she's dying. You know, it's scary.
Of course, yes. And I would, like, after I kick her off of me, it's like, listen, we're going to help you. Let's get you covered up. Let's get you some materials. But that didn't seem crazy to you?
Of course. but from her perspective, it makes sense. Like, she's panicked.
The principal wasn't shit.
No.
He called her Cassie like 4 or 5 times. When
Mr. Morton.
And then Carrie gets mad. She flips his little ashtray. Like, that is not my name. I like that. So Piper Laurie is so good in this movie. Just on sight, she looks like unbalanced.
She looks insane. Like because we meet her being invited into Sue Snell's house by the mother, which is really Amy Irving's real life mother.
Yeah, the mother. Yeah, that's her real life.
Priscilla Pointer. Anyway, you made the comment like, "Oh, it's like inviting a vampire in."
And I thought it was funny because the mom has to pay Piper Laurie to leave. She's like, "Here, take $5 donation. Take 10. Like, just leave my house." Oh, Carrie's English teacher, this little gay man who's not very nice.
Oh, that's Sidney Lassick, who's in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and I believe he is in Freeway as well.
I kind of recognized him.
Yeah.
Anyway, who's the blonde guy who asks Carrie out?
Tommy Ross, played by William Katt.
He wrote a poem, and the English teacher reads the poem. And then, of course, Carrie loves it. And she says it's beautiful. And the English teacher, like, rags on her.
Which, that scene is very similar to one in Sleepwalkers.
Oh.
You don't remember?
No.
Okay.
But I thought that was messed up. Like, this girl gets picked on. She doesn't speak up. She finally says something and it's nice. And you want to, like, it's not very nice.
No, he deserves what he gets too.
The gym teacher, what's her name again?
Betty Buckley, played by Miss Desjardins.
I was so tickled because she could not stand those bitches. Like, the way she was. Yeah. It was so funny to me. But I kept thinking she probably should find a new career. She shouldn't be teaching teenage girls because she can't stand them.
I like the part where she's explaining to the principal what happened while Carrie's waiting outside and there's still blood on her shorts, and he's looking at it.
And he's like, "Do you need to go to the infirmary?" Like, so insensitive to her issues. Like, no, this is a normal thing. It's just, you need to take care of these students. But so the PE teacher gives the mean girls all like detention, and they have to do PE. And if they don't do what she asked them to do, they can't go to prom. So the one mean girl, whose name I keep forgetting, she tries to rebel.
Hargensen.
Chris, the mean girl, is like, "I'm not doing this." And the PE teacher slaps the shit out of her.
That's a good scene.
I remember my dad saying when he was a kid in school, like, the teachers would hit them.
Yeah.
I feel like we should still let the teachers hit the students.
But she calls out to her classmates, noting that the pack mentality would help her.
And
like if they band together like roving wolves, they can overcome this gym teacher. So they know what they're doing.
But I like that the one girl was like, "Girl, bye. I'm not going to prom because of your dumbass."
And then of course Nancy Allen was she eventually married Brian De Palma,
Which one's Nancy Allen?
the mean girl.
Chris. Oh, she married the director years later.
You knew well right after this, I'm sure.
Oh,
and then you also know her from RoboCop.
the short-haired lady. That's her.
Yeah.
How many years later is that?
RoboCop is 87, I think.
So 10 years. Oh, she looks pretty different. Well, that's what you get for being mean.
Oh my god.
Immediately after Chris gets slapped on the yard, then she goes sees John Travolta, and she performs a sexual favor on him in order to get him to help her ruin Carrie's prom.
After he slaps her.
And then he slaps her, and then he slaps her again. So she gets slapped 3 times in a row. I thought that was so funny. She deserved it. But they reminded me of the movie Dark Harvest.
That we just watched.
Where the main character gets beat up like 3 times in a row. I was so shocked to see John Travolta. I do not remember them going to a damn pig farm or slaughterhouse. And then they kill that poor pig.
Yep.
I mean, I know that was the pig's fate anyway, but wow. When Carrie starts talking back to her mother, she's like, I'm not. Well, first she's trying to tell her she wants to go to prom, or like the kids like her. She's like, I'm not like you, mama. I'm funny. When was she funny? Then she tells her mom, you can't stop me. I don't want to talk about it anymore. That's when you start seeing her build up her confidence. That was fun.
It's very cathartic, yeah.
But then the mom, who's very manipulative, clearly, and then the famous line, they're all going to laugh at you. And then Piper Laurie starts hurting herself, like slapping herself, pulling her hair. Yeah. I thought that was all very well done. And then I wrote down that Piper Laurie's so dramatic. She kind of reminded me of a gay man.
Well, I think that's why gay men like her. It is a very OTT performance. And I know that she thought, clearly she was directed that way, but she didn't realize the tone, I think, of the film.
Sissy Spacek is such perfect casting for this. Yeah. She looks so good in her little slutty night prom dress. Her prom dress looks like my mom used to wear like slips under her dress back in the 80s. It looked like a slip, but she looked good.
She's beautiful.
And I think it's funny that like Carrie's like the baddest girl at the prom. She really is the most beautiful girl at the prom. And her dress was like, she looked good. She could be on a red carpet right now and look great the way she looked. So I thought that was interesting. But at the prom, the PE teacher's telling Carrie about the first time she went to prom. And then the PE teacher...
The first time.
Oh,
usually there's only one.
I went to prom 4 times.
You can go more than once.
Actually.
If you're cursed, I guess. Because why?
And funny story. Should I tell the story? Maybe not. Well, I think I've already said it. One time I went to prom with Queen Latifah's wife.
Oh, yeah, we've told the story.
But the PE teacher tells Carrie a story about how she wore 3-inch spike heels. 3-inch. Those are like Hillary Clinton shoes. But she's talking about them like they're like 6-inch stilettos.
This was the 70s. This was the 70s. We didn't.
I'm so confused by Tommy's hair.
Yeah, it's teased to the gods and very distracting.
Because I was trying to conduct an investigation and I still don't know what I think. It definitely looks teased.
There's some hairspray.
There's a lot of hairspray in it. But I'm so curious because when is that movie, The Blue Lagoon?
That's after this.
And what's that actor's name?
Is it Christopher Atkins?
His hair is what I feel like Tommy's hair should have looked like natural, curly, like Goldilocks.
Like a Pete Frampton look.
So I wonder if Tommy, that actor, like maybe that's like a perm, or they gave him like a roller set. I didn't bother to look up what this man looks like outside of the movie, but
yeah, the only other thing I think I've seen him in is House with Kay Lenz.
I just think that's an odd choice because he's supposed to be a desirable guy, and first of all, he looks old. He looks like he could be like the Brady Bunch dad. So they needed to do something with that.
He was gay. Yeah, he reminds me of, I'm forgetting the actor's name that played the pedophile on Mysterious Skin. Bill something. He looks of that ilk. He's cut from that cloth, in my mind.
It's a good thing the PE teacher threw Sue Snell out of the prom because that's how she survived. However,
And stars in The Rage 2.
oh, I might
Or
want.
Carrie
I might watch Carrie the Rage.
I would love to rewatch that. I haven't seen it since 1999.
Well, should I make that my podcast movie?
Whatever you'd like.
Well, I already have a selection.
Okay. It can just be extra.
But when Sue Snell is at the prom, she sees the blood situation and then she tries to see what's going on and she tries to tell the PE teacher. I didn't think that was very well. It didn't seem reasonable to me that the PE teacher would throw her out when it's like she's trying to. Sue Snell looks alarmed.
She does, but I think the gym teacher's misreading the clues.
Well, yeah, I mean, clearly.
Because she already is suspicious of Sue Snell and Tommy doing this prom thing with Carrie, so she probably thought that she was trying to interfere or harm her.
Sure. I couldn't believe those kids were laughing at Carrie. Well, they start laughing after the bucket, I think, drops on Tommy. But that just seems so cruel. What's funny about this?
Including Norma, played by PJ Souls from Halloween.
Am I a bad person for feeling so... It's so cathartic to see Carrie like when it's obvious. I mean, I knew what was going to happen, but the first time you see it, like, oh, she's about to shut shit down.
It is cathartic, though, because anybody who's ever been treated cruelly wishes they probably had this kind of power. But it's also distressing because the film does allow you to feel empathy for, Betty Buckley. Like, I still feel bad that the gym teacher gets caught up in that.
And then the way she, like that big ass,
yeah.
You know what it reminds me of? Remember when we met, I had that bed that had the roller thing over it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I used to have a bed that had, how would you even describe that?
Like a coffin.
Yeah, my bed had like a big like desk over it that would roll. It was on wheels. So like I could sit in bed and like have like a full desk. And then when I go to bed, I just push it towards the end. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it would have been like if I'm laying in bed and like a monster pushed that thing into me. That was pretty. The PE teacher didn't deserve that.
She didn't deserve that. I remember we had to, when you moved in with me, we sold that bed to some poor lesbians. They got a really good deal. That was an expensive bed.
That was a nice bed. I wouldn't mind. I bet we can find something like that now. Although it did make it hard to make the bed because I'd have to push it. Anyway.
We have a very nice bed now.
I couldn't believe that Chris and John Travolta were going to run Carrie over with their car. Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
That's the not that I really have any disappointments with the film, but they didn't have the budget to really film her path of vengeance.
Well, we'll talk about that. Carrie's mom had all of the candles.
Yeah.
I don't even know how you could light that many candles in the course of an evening.
She doesn't have anything else to do, and she clearly didn't make the soup she was probably going to make because she stopped chopping up them vegetables.
Or was she? Yeah. Well, when she got that knife in her hand, she's like, "I know what I'm going to use this for."
But it's like clearly you want the house to burn down tonight. There are candles everywhere.
Piper's death is very interesting. It takes a long time, though. It was a little campy, I thought.
It is, and it's also meant for you to draw comparisons to the Christ figure in the closet.
Sure.
That looks like her with the eyes and the hair.
And then speaking of over the top, that house caved in on itself, burst into flames, and then sinks into the ground. Like, oh my God. What would you give this movie?
I mean, I have a soft spot. The only scene that I really don't like is the tux scene. And I know Kimberly Pierce tries to do something different with
the tuxedo scene with Tommy.
With Tommy and his two little Goonie friends. And that De Palma does that fast-forwarded speech thing. That grates to me. It's
a choice, and I like choices. But yeah, that took me out.
I don't know why we needed that. But 4.5, because I love this film. This is another film I could put on anytime, anywhere.
I would give this film 4.5 out of 5. I mean, it's pretty affecting.
It still remains, talking about words that people don't know the meaning of because they overuse them. Iconic. The prom scene is iconic. The pig blood is like there's
the shower scene.
Yes. Yeah.
They're all going to laugh at you. Yeah.
Plug it up. I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'd never read the book. You read it many, many years ago.
1995, yeah.
But I watched a thing about sort of how the movie differs from the book. But it is featured in the other versions, like the 2003 and 2013 films sort of include things that this 70s film didn't, the first one. But one thing is the sunbathing neighbor.
Okay.
So when Carrie was younger, before she had breasts, there was a neighbor girl who was a teenager who would be outside, you know, showing her body, sunbathing, and Carrie's mom confronted the neighbor mom. And the neighbor mom was like, no, bitch, and bought her daughter a new bikini to wear. And then that's when Carrie discovers breasts and says she wants some. And that's where this whole like idea of like breasts being bad comes from. We also learn in the book that Carrie's mom tried to kill her at birth, but then couldn't pull through with it. So then just cut the umbilical cord, but was going to actually stab her with those scissors. And then the mom tries again to kill her when she's 3 years old, I think. So the film doesn't talk about that.
And the book is also textured with like what I remember, a lot of like newspaper articles and things like that, where you're learning bits and pieces, such as the stones, that there was a shower of stones that somebody wrote about in the newspaper.
Oh, yes. Carrie was born with the TK gene, the telekinetic gene. And then I guess in the book, we learned that Carrie's grandmother was a fire starter.
Mm-hmm.
So that's curious. Like, does she have the same gene as like the girl in Firestarter? Or?
Well, it's the same gene theme that King likes.
Then I guess in the book, Carrie is chunky with pimples.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously in a film, it's hard to have, you know, the actor go from being an ugly duckling to a goose. So then they just have, I think Sissy Spacek is perfect.
I think so too.
Crowley Grace Moretz, no. And then
she doesn't seem vulnerable at all.
No. And then the lady from the 2003 movie.
Oh, Angela Bettis.
I think she's well cast.
My favorite movie with her is May from 2001, directed by Lucky McKee. It's kind of a Frankenstein story.
But the 2003 movie looks really cheap.
Well, it's made for TV.
Then in the book, there's mention of Flash Bobby Pickett,
Mm-hmm.
who I guess Carrie carried around love notes to Flash Bobby Pickett. Bobby Pickett is the person who wrote and performed the song The Monster Mash.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was interesting.
Monster Mash.
In the book, there's a tie for prom king and queen. So they have to do another vote. But in the movie, the 70s movie, all we see is Tommy telling Carrie they should vote for each other or vote for themselves. But in the book, that scene is...
there's more anxiety.
Because that could be like the tie-breaking vote. But I can see why they didn't include it in the movie, because that just seems like extraneous. Okay, so you were going to talk about this. In the book, there's a lot more destruction to the town.
Yeah, there is. Well, from what I remember, but I know she blows up a gas station, and the death with the mother is different.
Which we see in the 2013 film. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming they didn't have the budget or resources to show that, but it would have been nice, because I think in my mind I recalled from this 70s movie that she does tear up the town, but she doesn't. She just walks from the school back home.
And that's why it seems so abrupt that she's left. I love that shot of her coming out of high school burning. But it seems so abrupt when all of a sudden she's walking down the middle of the road all bloody, and John Travolta and Nancy Allen seemingly come out of nowhere. Like they're just going to run her over.
Yeah.
Speaking of another De Palma movie, I know you know because I love it so, is Dressed to Kill, with Michael Caine as the trans serial killer.
Yes.
And Angie Dickinson in another shower scene that's a lot of fun.
But another big difference from the book is the ending, because in the book, Carrie doesn't die in the house with her mother. First of all, in this movie, Carrie kills her mom by stabbing her with a bunch of sharp objects. But in the book, Carrie kills her mom by stopping her heart. Mm-hmm. And then she goes on that walk.
But that's not as cinematic. How are they going to show that?
Yeah. So I think that was a good choice. And then Carrie dies because in this movie, we don't really get a sense that she becomes weak when she uses her powers.
No.
But in
Again, how would you kind of moderate that?
yeah. But in the book, she gets really weak to the point where she collapses, and then Sue Snell finds her, and Sue Snell is able to like, because I guess Carrie also has a touch of The Shining, so she can like understand people's thoughts, and then she can bring them into her thoughts. So Sue Snell sort of gets a glimpse of what Carrie was thinking.
So it's really an origin text for a lot of Stephen King's themes.
But yeah, this story is so good. And I think Piper Laurie and Sissy Spacek do such a fantastic job. The one thing I forgot to mention is the scene when Carrie gets back home with her mom and she's all bloody and takes a bath. It made me laugh because it made me think of that Calgon Take Me Away commercial. Like, I killed my entire school. Now I need to take a calming bath.
And Piper Laurie is just creepily standing outside the door that whole time. I think it's worth noting, of course, that Sissy and Piper were both nominated for Oscars. Sissy lost to Faye Dunaway for Network, which, you know, that's a superior film in its writing, and Faye had already been nominated a couple times. I'm not mad at that. And then, of course, Sissy would win a couple years later for Coal Miner's Daughter. Piper Laurie never won an Oscar, and I think this, you can tell that the Academy doesn't like to nominate genre films, but the fact that they were even nominated, because Piper lost to Beatrice Straight for Network, who I think still holds the record for shortest amount of screen time for an Oscar win. I think Beatrice is only in one scene. And this really should have been Piper's year. And it's also worth noting that Piper, the last film she did was The Hustler with Paul Newman, and then had a hiatus that was, a decade and a half. Was nominated for The Hustler and then for this. And then if you've never seen Piper Laurie as a young woman when she was acting alongside people like Rock Hudson, she was really a cute little thing herself.
I mean, she's a beautiful lady. If it weren't for her hair being so out of control.
Poofy. And I know you like her in the movie. We mentioned it before with Mel Gibson, Tim, where he's touched in the head, and she has a sexual romance with him. And of course, Twin Peaks.
Could I ask you to start with these comments while I excuse myself for 1 minute?
So where are we? Up here?
That's the very first one. What does that word mean?
Annularity. The weather-related word.
Oh, that's what it is?
Okay. Yeah, I was probably too young to. I actually could reread that book because I'm sure a lot that went over my head. And then I read shortly thereafter. That is a book that's really kind of an unfilmable book because I don't think any of the three films, including, you know, the Tim Curry classic, really do that justice. And I don't know if they can. I did read Firestarter as well. I think that book is superior to both film versions, obviously. It's hard to think of why they thought George C. Scott could play an Indigenous person, even in 1984. And, you know, I've actually never seen Fleabag, but that is a good line. I think I do recall Raja in RuPaul's Drag Race doing a pretty good Carrie costume on season 3. Yeah, John Travolta. This is right before Grease, Saturday Night Fever. See, the film does take a long time to drop the pig blood, but I think that I really like how that shots, you get all those kind of classic, well, now they're classic De Palma shots where they're mounting the tension with the rope and Amy Irving kind of just figuring it out almost in time to stop it. And I love all those shots of Nancy Allen's face, including when she finally pulls it. So I like that buildup of the anxiety of the pig blood.
Yes. Where are you? Oh, the dead zone, my house, because of the terrible cell service. Have you ever lived in a space where like your phone does not work? Because when I lived in the Midtown building on Chicago and Lake,
yeah,
I had no cell service.
Yeah, that would be, I don't think I've experienced that. I remember a time before cell phones. Brian De Palma, yes, Phantom. Brian De Palma is a favorite. He has too many Scarface. Phantom of the Paradise is a fun one. That you've never seen it, but we have it on Blu-ray.
Christopher Pike is greater than Stephen King.
Well, Christopher Pike's very YA. He did all those. What's this his series of books about the Vampire's Kiss or the Vampire's Embrace? I remember reading all those. Although my favorite of his is something called Monster, which actually I still have my copy of that. He's kind of like between R.L. Stine and Stephen King for probably what was appropriate.
Who's R.L. Stine?
The Goosebumps author.
Oh. Oh, yes. How long it takes for the pig's blood to drop.
That's what I was just talking
Oh,
about.
you would, yeah.
I don't mind that.
No, I like it too because it's like, well, and then because you know it's coming, it's just
Yeah.
like, oh, can no one like watching it yesterday? I'm still like, can no one stop this? Clearly not.
Yeah, a young Piper Laurie she was like the redheaded Debbie Reynolds. She had that vibe.
Oh, sure. Love Sisters, I agree. Probably my favorite.
You've seen it. I've shown
Is it about nuns?
No, it's about Margot Kidder, whose twin sisters, they're separated by surgery. They're Siamese twins. And then she has a psychotic break and believes she's the sister that's dead.
No.
And Charles Durning and Olympia Dukakis.
There's a Raising Cain in downtown LA. I didn't know that. The one I was thinking of is in South Bay. You've seen the original Carrie about 100 times. Piper Laurie thought this was a comedy.
I mean, it is. She is like your reaction to somebody like that is to laugh. But, I had a grandpa that he said some of the same weird ass shit she did. And there are people like that.
Imagine not knowing about like a menstrual cycle.
Your body,
your body. Yeah. Yeah.
One of the most important things that your body's going to do for the majority of your.
Well, even like for my own body, like not knowing certain things are going to happen. And it's like, what is happening right now? But I guess, I don't know, I'm older. So back, my parents are probably a little more.
Well, and it's crazy to believe that you really could keep somebody in a bubble, like a teenager in a bubble like that and not let them know.
Yeah. The co-star of our little YouTube channel.
It's a demon.
Is the cat's food. I'm so hilarious. Tell Nick that.
I know you're hilarious. I laugh at you all the
You
time.
laugh at me.
I laugh with you.
Oh, no, you said what you really felt.
No, both. You're funny and bizarre. So a bit of both.
I'm bizarre. And then when Nick tries to mimic me, he makes me sound like an old buzzard. Why do you do that?
Because you don't sound like an old buzzard, but the sentiment behind your statements usually is that of an old buzzard.
After I kick her off of me. I don't want to seem like I wouldn't be I feel like I'm a kind person and I would help someone in need. Kicking off the bloody person.
Begrudgingly.
Nuck if you buck.
There'd be lots of, oh no.
Actually, Nuck if you buck would have been a good song because I posted that video of you with the cat and I picked that song Girl Fight by Brooke Valentine.
Oh my God.
But I think they both would have worked. What is mukbang?
Isn't that a South Korean dish? Bean?
Why are we talking about mukbang?
I don't know.
Was that a commercial that played during this live?
Oh, I don't know.
Let's get you some materials. Well, I was trying to. Do we say sanitary napkins anymore? I don't know. How do we refer to feminine hygiene? Well, I would. When I was younger, I always thought they were like feminine or sanitary napkins, but maybe that's not a term we use anymore.
A tamp.
But how do you describe like those things as a whole, right? Because tampons and pads are not the same.
It's like Kleenex, which is not really. Well,
Tampax is the brand, tampon is the thing, but then there are also pads.
Yes.
So what do you call those two things together? I guess I'm asking the world. I don't know.
Thankfully, I don't have
I called them materials.
A daughter that I have to get materials for.
You use the term dirty pillows all the time.
I do. I love it. I love.
Carrie should have got herself emancipated from that crazy bitch.
If only.
Oh, yes. When Chris got slapped, I just, Oh, and the teacher looks so satisfied, but then she seems a little worried, like maybe I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, like, did I go too far?
But we see the teacher is at prom, so clearly she didn't get fired.
Right. Well, Chris is also seeming like kind of white trash. Like maybe she's definitely not at the level of a Sue Snell in the school hierarchy.
Oh, sure.
Because does Billy go to? It's unclear to me if Billy is ever in a class or goes to school. The John Travolta character. Because in the book, I remember for some reason in my book, I thought he was kind of outside or older.
Oh, did you mention this, that the teacher would later star alongside Harrison Ford?
I did. She's the wife that disappears, so Betty has a very brief role in Frantic.
Do you know what this is? Booker?
The Booker Prize? I don't know. I don't even know what's up for potentially winning that prize.
Oh, I was in elementary school in the 80s, and I remember when they sent a permission slip home, because from that point on, they could only spank the kids they had permission to. When I was in third grade, I remember my teacher, Mrs. God, what was her name? Tamahachi. Anyway, I remember her calling my parents and my dad coming to the school and asking for permission if she could spank me. And my dad said yes. And then my mom said, if she doesn't want to do it, I'll come to school and spank him if he acts up. I was a very good student because I was afraid.
I was at first. Yeah, I remember one of my friends in junior high got manhandled. Like he got pushed up against the locker and kind of lifted off the ground, and they didn't do anything to that teacher.
I mean, these badass kids need something. Someone says that their grandmother told them about how they had a dunce box in school. Now that's pretty bad.
There was a teacher, maybe in first grade, she had a dunce hat. I don't know that I don't remember seeing anyone wear it.
Oh, I would like a dunce hat, just like a baseball cap or a beanie. Actually, I'd wear a dunce beanie.
Well, Halloween's coming up.
The bullying that happens in Stephen King stories nowadays, someone would have gotten arrested.
His bullies are so OTT.
The original slip dress. Didn't she look so good?
She looked beautiful, yeah.
And then she sewed that dress. Mm-hmm. So she knew what looked good on her body. She almost looks too good. Kind of. For a girl who doesn't know about,
sure,
to know that like that looked so nice on her.
Sure. Sissy, that's shortly after Badlands, Terrence Malick.
And then Piper Laurie's so extra. The mom talking about that red dress. And Carrie's like,
this is not red.
This is pink, bitch. This is not my lipstick is red.
You Jezebel. Oh, you've never seen Jezebel with Betty Davis wearing her red dress.
No.
It's in black and white, but
I didn't out Queen Latifah. She's since said she's a lesbian.
She has. I have met Ebony as well. Randomly.
People want to hear my stories. I'll probably get in trouble for all my stories. Someone went to prom twice. Yeah. Yeah. Did Piper Laurie make that Jesus cross?
It looks like it's fashion to be like her.
Because it looks like paper mache. It looks like someone made that.
Those eyeball. Yeah.
She had it commissioned from someone living on the street. Yeah, his hair is teased to the gods. They didn't adopt a baby. Ebony was pregnant. So I don't know where they got that sperm from, but...
Tyler Perry.
Oh, it's Tyler. Oh, my God. Queen Latifah's kid is from Tyler Perry's scrotum.
Gay.
I hope Twitches is the podcast movie. What is Twitches? Do you know what that is?
Film.
Oh.
It's not.
It's not.
It's his choice, but I know. I already know. I know.
Tommy got a raw deal. He really looked like he was genuinely checking for Carrie's dirty pillows. Well, I mean, yeah, she looked great. Did you get the sense that he really liked her? I mean, he kisses her.
I think he starts to come around when she is all done up. It seems like he's attracted to her at least.
Any horror light movie recommendations? I'm a wimp, but I like ooky spooky vibes.
You know, I'll always say for PG-13, well, Drag Me to Hell is fun, but Ouija Origin of Evil, which is the sequel to a very subpar film, I think is a lot of fun. The Polish demon.
Wait, which one?
Ouija Origin of Evil.
Oh yeah, that one's good.
I quite like that. Oculus.
Amy Irving's hair is the best. Those curls. Yeah, her hair looks great.
Nancy Allen's hair looks great. Betty Buckley's
Which
hair.
one is she?
The bad girl, Nancy Allen.
Well, she has that feathered, but it does look nice for the period. But the other lady, the curly haired lady, I mean, that's like timeless, you know.
Sue. Well, now you can see her be a teacher in the Rage 2, the Carrie 2.
Just hit the dispensary. Love this review. Is that because you're high? Tommy's not cute. He just needs to be styled differently.
That hair. And it's Ansel Elgort in the Kimberly Pierce.
Oh, Carrie's better than me. Well, I don't know what I would have done with some telekinesis. I felt the same way.
Oh, yeah.
Don't give me any powers. Yeah, Carrie doesn't have any solace, like you said, from being attacked. Like she's not safe at home. She's not safe at school. Yeah, the poor PE teacher.
She's definitely imagining the teacher laughing.
There are desks on wheels to put over a bed, like in the hospitals. But mine was nice because it matched the bed frame, so it looked like it was all. I missed that bed, actually.
I remember watching the film Hancock.
Hancock
with Will Smith in that bed.
What?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Not surprised.
Oh, someone's saying they weren't laughing at her. That is in her imagination. Oh.
But most of it.
Well, that's an important thing. Because then I'm thinking they're being extra cruel, but I guess.
Well, some of them. Norma certainly is. That.
Salem's Lot.
Salem's Lot's fun.
I don't know if I know that movie.
You do. We watched it.
Oh.
The vampires, the town of vampires. James Mason, I believe, is one of them.
I love when
Toby
Nick
Hooper.
puts the iconic stamp on things.
It should be used rarely.
Oh, I also, Sissy was miserable because of the blood. It would get cold and sticky. Didn't we?
I read that she, for the because I think that scene took 3 days for the continuity. She slept in the bloody clothes at least 2 nights.
Oh, I thought I heard 3 nights.
Oh, well.
Yeah, she had to sleep. So for continuity, to make sure it all looked, yeah, she just wore that bloody ass dress. If you live in LA, the Vernon Farmer John's pig farm is the location of the slaughterhouse.
Oh. When we do. What a romantic Sunday drive that would be.
It drives me crazy to hear all these fetuses calling everything iconic.
Yes.
Oh, you said going to the Vernon pig farm?
It's just because something happened on television or online does not make it iconic.
What is it called? The Vernon Farmer John?
To have no cultural impact whatsoever, and that will be forgotten next week, or only a certain group of people. But that's okay.
I'm looking up this pig farm.
Mm-hmm.
They're all going to laugh at you.
Oh, did you say ugly duckling into a goose?
Oh, but geese are pretty too. But I meant to say swan. I said goose.
Geese are vicious. If you ever.
We got chased by a goose at Echo Park, like during the pandemic or before?
That was during the pandemic.
I was so embarrassed because people are watching, but.
My mom hated geese because she got attacked by one as a little kid. And if you try to take their eggs, because as a little kid I like bird eggs, so I would try to take.
Wait, when you say Vernon Farmer John, you mean like Farmer John, the people who make like all the breakfast sausage? Is that?
I bet not.
But it's on Vernon, so maybe they're saying Farmer John's Market on Vernon.
You will have to conduct an investigation.
It's closing soon. I'm reading.
Oh, okay.
It's Well, now's not the time. Well, I could go get directions. Let me see. Someone loved the movie May.
May is great. Poor Lucky McKee never really got a chance to. Nothing else popped off like that for him. But
what is your favorite movie from a horror movie from the 70s?
Oh, I don't know.
We're only 9 miles away. Oh, it's near like downtown, kind of.
From the 70s. I don't know, The Brood, maybe.
Did Tommy die?
Presumably.
Oh,
Well,
because he gets knocked out.
they're carrying his body off the stage. I don't think they get out with him.
Can you please review Memoria? I love your channel. Thank you.
Pitchapong. God, yeah, I guess I didn't review. I saw that at Cannes with Tilda. You know, that's never going to be released on DVD apparently, but I have a copy because of the neon press kit set.
Oh, I am really behind, and we have to be done in like 10 minutes. Okay. So we're gonna go into overdrive.
Yes, Nancy Allen wasn't Dressed to Kill. She was a good girl in that. Yes, and it's a Psycho ripoff. De Palma was ripping off Hitchcock quite a bit. I mean, what's the other one that's a ripoff of Vertigo? That's a lot of fun with Genevieve Bouillard's. God, and I really like it. Why am I blinking on the title? And Cliff Robertson.
Did you mention Children of a Lesser God?
I don't know why.
Piper was nominated for her beautiful and understated performance in Children of a Lesser God.
With Marlee Matlin?
Twin Peaks, where she plays a Chinese man. What? Did Piper Laurie play a Chinese man? I'm confused.
Oh, Obsession is the De Palma film. That's a Vertigo ripoff. Piper, I don't remember her in Children of a Lesser God.
An idea for the podcast Near Dark. It's a phenomenal horror vampire film, and it's directed by a female.
That's that female is Catherine Bigelow. That was, I think, her first big thing. I remember Lance Henriksen and Jeanette Goldstein, because Catherine used to be married to James Cameron, and Jeanette Goldstein, who you know from Aliens, Vasquez.
Oh, she was in
Titanic.
No, we watched some like documentary, and she's in it. About the making of Alien, I think.
Oh, probably, yeah. Yeah, because she famously showed up for auditions thinking it was about illegal immigrants.
Oh. Have you considered top 10 lists for the, like, I mean.
She was in Children of a Lesser God. God, I guess I've only seen that once.
Now I'm taking a calming bath. Nick, are you feeling better?
Yeah, I still sound a little stuffy, but
although we got our flu shots this morning. So does your arm hurt yet?
Yeah.
It does?
It's a little sore.
I don't think that lady gave me the vaccine. I think she gave me a placebo. No, I'm just kidding. Your lady was much nicer than mine.
She said her name.
Okay, I need to get through these. What did we think of Carmen Maria Machado's writing? What's that?
I don't know that I've read anything by her.
Please review Blowout.
Blowout's a good De Palma. That's rip off a Blow Up, the Antonioni. John Travolta, Nancy Allen. Great ending in that movie.
It's someone's first live. Welcome. Have you heard of a movie, Nathan Fielder's The Curse?
Yeah, is that with the kid from Stand By Me?
There's the cat food drop. Totally off topic, but The Fall of the House of Usher is giving me life. Is that a new show?
Yes. I mean, I love the Vincent Price version of that, but I've seen ads. I haven't watched it.
Do I like drinking out of cans without a straw? No. Because this shit is dirty. Like, there's no cleaning of these cans.
Oh, The Curse is a series, so I don't know when I'm going to get in Benny Safdie, but I don't know when I'm going to get around to watching that.
And at the bar, like when the bartender opens the can and they have those dirty ass hands that they took money and then now they touch my can. But then the problem is the straws that are out in the open, because they'll give you a straw and then the top of the straw always tastes like salty lime because their hands are like lemony dirty. So I always try to get my own straw.
We did a review on Claudine when Criterion released it, so I think we have
on YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Which we were both big fans of. But
this is why I love Scorpios. They match my dark humor. My sense of humor is very dark, although I like silly stuff too. I think my sense of humor is more broad than yours, because I like silly things too.
I like silly shit.
You're a little pretentious. Well, not a little, but Oh, we're going to talk about Will and Jada on the podcast tomorrow. Don't you worry.
I saw a really good meme.
Well, what was it?
Like Jada admits that she's never met Will.
Yes, I almost posted that. Okay, I got to get through these. Mukbang is a Korean word for a broadcast where you eat. Oh,
okay.
So it's like an eating show?
Okay.
Oh, so we do call them menstrual products?
Feminine products sounds more correct.
Oh, someone does say sanitary napkins in the public, but then around their friends, they say pads. Some people, feminine products, feminine care, feminine hygiene products.
What is Diablo?
Kotex.
What does Diablo Cody say?
I just say what I'm looking for. It's 2023. Ain't time to be hiding anything. I
This
know
is
that's
true.
right.
This is true.
Well, also,
I'm bleeding. Help me.
Well, because, as a kid in the 80s, like watching the commercials, they were so discreet and it was so embarrassing. And now these commercials are just like it's very clear what they're selling. And I find that, because I would think if I were a young girl, like imagine watching a commercial or seeing something and it's like, this is something I'm going to need for a good portion of my life. That like is not even clear to me what it is.
Yes.
And then the way it's sold is like it's a dirty secret.
Well, look at how we still have cartoon bears selling us Kleenex. It's like we all poop.
Although those bears are pretty graphic though. Like it's kind of weird because it's like cartoonish, but then they're talking about dingleberries.
Have you ever seen bear shit? They shit a lot and they don't wipe their ass with tissue paper. Humans do. Or as my dad would call them, bowel towels.
Thank you, Jonah. Could you guys elaborate on specifically each of the death scenes at the prom? Oh, I mean,
that's a lot of death.
Are you new here? Because I don't remember anything.
Well, the teacher,
the PE teacher,
yes, gets.
Oh, the gay English teacher gets electrocuted.
With is it the principal? They're arguing over the microphone, and they both get electrocuted.
Those are the only two deaths I remember, and then of course I assume everyone who gets locked in the.
Well, you see a bunch of people get knocked around with a fire hose and
electrocuted, and then
the fire,
and then they all burn up. That's all I could really.
And then the car accident with Billy and Chris.
What if teachers got one good slap per school year? I think teachers should get one good slap a day.
Well, kids would act out a lot less.
Yeah, because that like those statistics are not in your favor that you might get slapped. So every day I'm a little nervous, like. Because if you have 30 students in a class, those are pretty good odds you might get slapped if you act up. Violence is not the answer, I'm told.
Well,
okay, we got to keep going. Someone said my dad put on the permission slip yes for spanking and then send her home and I'll finish the job. That's something my dad would say. Classic 70s prom look. John Travolta. Yeah, John Travolta's character. God, I did not. Is this before
Grease?
Grease
is 77.
Sissy is great in Badlands.
Oh yeah, with Martin Sheen. That's Malik's first.
Oh, Coal Miner's Daughter is such a good movie.
I want to be a singer, dude.
I do want to watch Christine.
Yeah, Christine's really good.
A Kotex party after menopause. No more for that. I'm free as a bird. Carry on. Tyler Perry sperm. Tyler Perry would be the perfect straight man for the job. His documentary, we're for sure going to review it.
Maxine's Baby.
What if he's not... I already know he's going to talk about... I think the most personal he's going to get is him being molested. And then... he's gonna I think that's probably. I don't even think he's gonna show us his kid, and then talk about how he's gonna talk about living in his car for a month.
Yeah.
We'll probably get a tour of his house and the studio,
and the island.
There will be no women. He'll probably talk a lot about.
Oh, there will be
relationships.
What are you talking about? There can be plenty of beards, I think. You can talk about that woman that had his baby.
No, he's not. I bet you he's not. He's not going to talk about. He's not going to talk about personal relationships, but he will talk about love and romance, like he always does.
Sure.
But with what receipts?
Yeah, he's not. I doubt he's ready to be real. But
do you remember the main bully from Christine? That man was so damn sexy. Oh, do you remember who that is?
Did I find him sexy?
Well, do you know who he is?
No, I can't think off the top of my head.
Well, here. Well, thank you, Jen. It would be fun to see a live or video of a review while you're dressed up for Halloween.
It would be.
Is this the bully?
Oh, yeah. With those sideburns. Mm-hmm.
Oh, people can say I have a ring light.
Yeah.
Well, you know, we gotta, at my age, we need a little extra. The Uninvited is an awesome movie. Is
that with Anne Southern? That's a film noir. I think I have a copy of that I have not watched.
What do you think of the new Carrie 20? There's a 2018 Carrie? Crowley is 2013, right?
Yeah.
Please talk about Jada. We will talk about Jada tomorrow. I love when Nick says James Mason.
That's actually, I think I'm borrowing from Eddie Izzard.
Thank you, Laura. Do Love at First Bite. Is that with Jim Carrey?
That's Once Bitten.
Oh. Do you know Love at First Bite?
No. I do want to rewatch Once Bitten. I just got the others on Criterion that I'm supposed to review. I'm very excited to watch that. I haven't watched it since...
Is that the one with the ghost babies?
Nicole Kidman, yeah. Alejandro Amenabar.
Will we be reviewing Five Nights at Freddy's?
Yes. You might be out of town when it screens, but yes.
The original Fright Night, I watched that with you the second night I met you, or the first time I hung out with you, we watched Psycho.
And Tu Wong Fu, and then you came over for Fright Night.
Like that was the third movie I watched with you.
Mm-hmm. With Chris Sarandon.
I don't remember what I thought of it though.
It's okay.
Do you prefer zombie, Dracula, or werewolf movies? I would say like vampire movies.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Some 80s, like American Werewolf in London that's an anytime, anywhere movie, as is The Howling. For some reason, I love The Howling.
Love the review because you're both fantastic. And yes, I am high simultaneously.
Perfect.
Piper was not a Chinese man on Twin Peaks. Okay.
No, I don't. Are we talking about what's her face?
Please review Vox Lux. I've seen Vox Lux. Did we review it?
Joan Chen, is that what we're talking about? Yes. We didn't review it. That came out in 2018. Somebody was knocking that in some comments. I think, sure, it's campy, but I really like that movie. I think Natalie Portman is a lot of fun. And Willem Dafoe as Satan in the background.
Have you seen Della Morte Dell'Amore?
Is that with no. What's the English language title?
Did I say Poor People Hands?
Did you?
If I did, I didn't mean it. I don't know what I said.
Oh, Cemetery Man with Rupert Everett. Yes, years ago.
Can you review Players Club? We watched Players Club recently, actually. I don't know why we did.
Because I'd never seen it.
Oh. That would have been a good one to review, actually. We often watch movies and then after the fact, I'm like, oh, I should have taken notes. Because I still think it'd be fun to talk about that one with the T-Rex with Denise Richards.
Tammy and the T-Rex.
Oh my God, that movie was so good.
I love Denise Richards.
Like fun good.
As a shitty, belligerent teen girl. Both her and whenever she screams in that movie or Wild Things, I don't know. I think it's funny.
11. I need to. Okay, we need to wrap this up.
Oh, Audition. Audition, Takashi Miike. I haven't seen that or Ichi the Killer in years and years and years. You have to be in a mood for those. But yeah.
Carmen Maria Machado is a queer Cuban-American short story horror writer. I recommend her. I think she'd be up your alley.
I will look her up. That reminds me, there's a book I wanted to read called Mexican Gothic.
Nick's reaction when Joseph talks about his sense of humor is the next short. Can someone put a timestamp on that? I sound like a germaphobe. I'm not. I don't think I'm a germaphobe.
It's not you, it's the dirt. That should be your mantra.
I saw that Jada meme, Nink. Can I start calling you Nink?
No, because that could, if your diction is off, it could sound like something bad.
Or nincompoop.
Yeah. There's split screens in Sisters as well. Oh, I love Sisters. That's a great Halloween movie.
Joseph will love the 30-year-old Travolta lookalike in Christine.
Yeah, he is. Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. I don't like Kim Darby, who most people probably know from True Grit. I just don't like her screen presence. Very irritating to me. So I do find the original TV version kind of flawed because of that. And I don't really like Katie Holmes. And I think the remake could have been better.
Oh, someone just said, Joseph, the tab on a soda can is designed for a straw. You know, I already know that. It keeps it in place. But fun fact, our cat loves straws. And this raggedy bitch will knock over my cans of soda to get the straw. So yesterday you had to clean my desk because she spilled my drink.
Yes. Thankfully, it's sugar-free.
There Will Be No Women, a Tyler Perry memoir. That's worse than anything I've said.
The Woman in Me.
The Woman in Me. That would actually be a good one.
Yeah.
We are the only reviewers out there with opinions that don't feel rushed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Since I don't think before I speak.
Oh my God.
Tyler Perry better show his bad wig closet. Okay. Have you seen Teeth? Yes.
Yes. Liechtenstein. I could rewatch that too. Been a minute.
Okay.
My favorite Hitchcock film, it's a tie between Psycho and Notorious. Ingrid Bergman in Notorious is pretty damn fly. Oh, I forgot to mention that I watched in anticipation of Carrie. For the first time, I watched a TV movie called The Spell, which came out in 1977, which is ripping off Carrie to a great degree, but stars the very lovely Lee Grant, who is also pretty damn fly, especially in the 60s and 70s. But
in which movie?
The Spell. And it's about a chubby teenager who's made fun of, who discovers that she has psychic abilities and starts to act out. But in comparison to Carrie, Lee Grant's playing a very loving mother who has to actually end up facing off with her daughter at the end of the film because she has psychic abilities. Lee Grant was beautiful.
Yeah, I kind of like her hair too.
Yeah, that looks classic.
Tammy and the T-Rex is funny to me. And then someone's asking about please review Mac and Me. We did talk about Mac and Me at length on one of the podcast episodes. I couldn't tell you which one.
I just got chills. That movie's so hard to sit through, so bad.
But it's within the last like 6 months.
Yeah.
Or not 3 months.
Recently-ish.
Like 4 to 2 months ago, like any of those podcasts, we do talk about Mac and Me.
In 2023. I hope Joseph will like The Zone of Interest because it'll be in my top 10 of the year. I just sent you a list of press screenings last week that you haven't responded to yet. Well, a ghost story I could rewatch. Alice Kriege is in that. I haven't seen that in years and years. And Burnt Offerings with Oliver Reed, Karen Black, and Betty Davis. I remember being disappointed in that, but it's been a few years.
Okay, well, we need to wrap things up because we have somewhere to be. But the theme for next week's poll, I think, is going to be creature features.
Is it?
Because we're going to do our next live on Halloween.
Okay.
I think.
All right.
So we won't do it Saturday the 29th or whatever, because I may not be around, but I will be here on the 31st. So we're going to, for our live on the Halloween, I think we're going to do like major horror franchises. Like that'll be the poll. So like Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Halloween, I don't know what other ones there are, Saw, and then maybe like The Conjuring or something. Well, like big franchise type movies.
I am in no rush to rewatch any Conjuring film.
I don't really. The only one of the ones I mentioned that I think I would probably enjoy rewatching is maybe Halloween.
Really? We just,
The original?
yeah, I feel like I've seen that so many
Or
times.
maybe Nightmare on Elm Street?
I'd rather rewatch the original Friday the 13th because Betsy Palmer is so fun.
Well, then maybe my podcast. Well, I don't know. Anyway, do you have anything else you want to say?
No.
All right. Ta ta.